Time to Talk Tuesday, where your local realtor, Antonio Newton, discusses the local market and common issues, providing quick solutions, creative ideas, as well as tips for investors, home buyers, and homeowners.
Before we get into today's episode, which is part 2 of the frequently asked questions for home buyers, I'd like to take this time to thank our sponsors for today's show, NortheastColumbiaHomeshow.com, as well as Better Way Properties. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. Also, don't forget, you can check out all of our video content on our YouTube channel. We have over 80 videos with all of our Time to Talk Tuesday episodes, our After Coffee, which is our interview series, Home of the Day, our monthly market stats, as well as Facebook Live videos. So go check that out. Please like it, comment, give us feedback. If you know anybody who can benefit, please share it or tag them in it. And then, of course, don't forget to subscribe and then hit that bell so that way you get notified anytime we drop a new video. And you can also connect with us on Facebook, where we post articles daily about what's going on in the marketplace. And the Facebook business page is the Antonio Newton Realtor as well. So let's just jump right into it. One of the frequently asked questions, or FAQ, is what kind of credit score do I need to buy a home? Well, that varies depending on your loan type, but generally you're going to say a 620, 640. Some lenders can go a little bit lower depending, but really with the climate of everything that happened in 2020, it's a lot more difficult to get those lower scores approved. Not impossible, but just a little more challenging and difficult. And of course, you know, the credit score lets them know about your risk as a buyer. So the higher risk you are, you may have a higher down payment to put down, or you may have higher interest. But the higher credit score you have, then that means the lower risk you are, and then you can potentially have to put down less of a down payment as well as get a lower credit score. Speaking of down payment, that's often a frequently asked question. How much money do I need for a down payment? Once again, going back to the last video, it kind of depends on the loan type. There are some loan types that are 100% financing, which means no down payment. There's also some loan types where you can get down payment assistance. But generally, for an FHA loan, you need 3.5%. For a conventional loan, you need anywhere from 3% to 20%. And of course, the more you put down, that may affect your interest rate as well as your PMI, which is your private mortgage insurance. Well, since we're talking about money, what is earnest money? Earnest money is essentially what you put down to show the owner that you're serious about buying their property. For a contract to be legally binding and enforceable, the seller has the house that they're putting down, and you as the buyer have to put some kind of consideration down. That consideration is the earnest money. That earnest money that you put down gets applied to your down payment or applied to closing costs at closing. The only way you lose this earnest money is if you default on your contract, which of course your real estate agent would help you not do that. So even if you had to back out of your contract, we want to make sure you do it in a way where you don't lose that earnest money. How many homes should I look at before I buy? There's no set amount. I've shown some people 5 homes. I've shown some people 50 homes. So here we don't really put a cap on that. Now we do want to make sure that we're communicating and asking the right questions so we know what you're looking for. So that way we can be as efficient as possible, not only with your time, but with ours as well. So, you know, if you don't want stairs, there's no need to look at 2-story homes. You know, if you want to be near Fort Jackson, there's no need to be out in Chapin. So we're going to listen to you and figure out what your needs is. And then as we start to look at homes and we ask questions as we're going through them, we'll be able to fine tune it. You know, some people don't want the laundry room and by the kitchen. So that could be something. So as we hear these things, we can eliminate some of those, which is going to make sure that the homes we're showing you are really right in your wheelhouse for what you're looking for, as well as what you can afford. What if my offer is rejected? That is such an important question right now because we're seeing multiple offer situations. In the last video, there was a property that we was helping represent the buyer, and they had 25 offers, which means that 24 offers were rejected. Well, you do have the option to continue as a backup offer, and there's some things and stipulations and how you want to set that up. But if not, then you would continue to look. You know, in this market right now, it's oftentimes, like I said, that your offer may be rejected. But in order to eliminate that, there's some things that you can do to set yourself apart so you increase your probability of getting your offer accepted for the house that you want. Should I order a home inspection? Yes. You should get a home inspection as well as an HVAC inspection and a termite inspection. That is so critical because you want to make sure that you are getting the property that you're going to purchase, this huge investment. You want to make sure that you have professionals come look at it and go through it with a fine-tooth comb, as they say. You know, we want to make sure that our T's crossed, our I's are dotted. Could they miss something? Potentially. But the more people you have, because you got an appraiser that's going to look at it, a home inspector, an HVAC technician, as well as a termite inspector, that's a lot of eyes on that property, as well as you walking through it, as well as an agent walking through it. So if there's something that kind of looks out of line, we can always investigate to make sure that it's not any major problems that we don't foresee. And then, of course, do I need to do a final walkthrough? Yes. Before you go sign those papers on that property, you want to make sure, one, the seller's out of it. And even if it's vacant, you want to make sure no damage has happened from the time you put that contract in or had inspection to the time you get ready to close. You know, we've seen, especially with some kids doing virtual schooling and things are a little bit lax, you know, sometimes some windows get broken. Maybe they had the grass cut and they may have damaged the window or things like that. Hopefully nobody broke in and did anything major, but you want to make sure as the new owner, as this is your investment, that before you go and sign those papers and invest all this money, that the home is still as it should be, in good shape. Utilities are on so you can get moved in. Make sure the seller hasn't already turned those off, and you can get moved in without a hitch. Then one of the last questions is, how much do I have to pay an agent to help buy a house? Well, every agent's different and every brokerage is different. But most of the time, agents can sometimes get their payment from the transaction. The seller has agreed to pay the buyer's agent commission. If that's not the case, then you want to make sure that you and the agent are on the same page, because obviously the agent is going to expect payment. So you want to make sure you and the agent are on the same page of how much they're getting paid and who's paying that. Whether it's going to be paid out of the transaction, the seller, whether he's reducing part of his commission or her commission, or whether you're going to pay that as the buyer. Because as a buyer, you do have a lot on the table. You got the buyer's agent commission, which is your responsibility, but oftentimes can be paid. You got your down payment, which is your responsibility, but sometimes you can get 100% financing program or down payment assistance. And then you have closing costs, which is your responsibility, but oftentimes you can get the seller to pay for that. Well, we're not seeing that really in our market right now, so there's a little more on the table that the buyer is having to do. So you want to make sure you sit down with your agent and you have all these things outlined and that the expectations are set so that there's no disappointment in the home search. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be challenges, and I know these aren't all the questions, and each situation is going to bring up different questions. But these are a lot of the general questions that people have and that people email to me, which is what made me do this segment. If you have any other questions, or if you have something, a topic you want us to discuss on Time to Talk Tuesday, feel free to reach out. My email's here. You can call or text, and we love to hear from you. Once again, this show is for you. It's for the public. We want to provide you with as much information as possible so that you can make the best decision for you and your family, the best informed decision for you and your family. So thank you once again for watching, and I hope that you tune in next week to our next Time to Talk Tuesday episode. My name's Antonio Newton, your local realtor with the Newton Group at Coldwell Banker. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.
This episode of Time to Talk Tuesday was brought to you by the Newton Group at Coldwell Banker, where nothing works until we do. Look for our episodes every Tuesday where Antonio Newton discusses the local market and common issues while providing quick solutions, creative ideas, as well as tips for investors, home buyers, and homeowners. If you'd like to reach out to us, we can be reached online and on land at area code 803-608-2597. So until next time, here's wishing you all fair winds, following seas, and gentle tide.